This is Fallout 76. We're here on PlayStation 5 Pro. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is the multiplayer take on the experience, the world, the style of Fallout. And while it had a rocky origin, they've actually done a lot to improve the game and add to it and enhance it over the many years that it's been out. And it's actually at the point where it's a pretty solid and kind of great game to experience, and one that's actually something you can recommend to people at this point in terms of having actual narrative, actual gameplay that feels and plays like a cooperative Fallout experience should, with NPCs and unique stories and missions and never-ending content. It's the game we really should have had at the beginning, but, you know, hey, at least they finally delivered. Now, the most exciting part of this is the fact that they actually did finally add a next-gen Aware update. This was about a year or so back. They added the ability to have a higher frame rate. So that's the excitement here. I mean, I think it's pretty noticeable, the fluidity level here. And while we're not really getting anything specifically special for the PlayStation 5 Pro, I thought it would be fun to dive back in and talk about Fallout 76. As, you know, it's been a while, and it's a fun game for me to play. It's a game where I'm always kind of a little bit low on ammo. That aspect I wish they would kind of fix up, but yeah, we're sort of taking a look at this from the perspective of them having added, like, ghoul content recently. Yeah, I know it sounds weird, but there's a whole ghoul thing going on, ghoul events, and yeah, that's kind of the status of things. So loading is still, you know, the loading it was, because it's a multiplayer integrated world, right? So you go across these environments and you are connected to an online server with X amount of players going around and doing different things across what is probably the best Fallout world they've created in terms of, like, scale and size and, like, buildings and things. No, seriously, it is a very genuinely impressive world. It does some weird things to the lore, I guess, in terms of some of the things that are present within this world, but it's kind of a fun experience where you are just stepping out of the vault. Vault 76, you're supposed to be the best and the brightest, aiming to, well, bring back America, save America after what's happened, to re-colonize and just fix this really broken post-apocalyptic world. But here's where things weren't as bad. So, like, this place is a little bit better off because this area didn't get, like, destroyed like other places did. Now, this is like Fallout in the sort of casing of a multiplayer game. So you need to eat, you need to drink. It's not really the end of the world if you don't, but, you know, there are survival mechanics that are present within this game. There are things you can see. And it's so nice to actually have NPCs. It might sound weird, like, if you're playing this, like, oh, I've played lots of Fallout games, you know, it's NPCs in that. That's not a big deal at all. And it kind of is, because, like, if you went back and you checked out this game when it launched compared to now, like, this stuff just didn't exist. Like, they're just, well, there was, like, enemies and stuff, but, like, there weren't people and stuff roaming around. It was just lifeless. It was a husk. You were a crazy person going around listening to audiobooks for hours. It was like the furthest removed. Wow, that thing went for a flip. It was like the furthest removed thing you could imagine as far as something trying to be a Fallout game. Like, sure, the world was great, and, you know, sure, it was filled with, like, things to interact with and, like, you know, different places to visit and cool looking spots, but yeah, it was really depressing. So I am glad that we have finally, you know, been able to experience that full thing. So as far as, like, PlayStation 5 Pro, it's 1440p, it's 60 FPS, and it should have HDR going on. It seems like different updates kind of, like, fiddle around with that, if that makes sense. But yeah, anyways, it's running good, looking good. I do kind of wish that they would do a proper next-gen upgrade, because I'm sure this could go higher. Like, it's sort of weird for something that is what I would say like a pretty big game. Like it's gone on for many years, right? Like there's been many updates. They do big seasonal improvements all the time.
I'm Sophie, and this is my stupid survivor story.
Yeah, I don't really want to listen to that.
Go.
Misk, Hollow Notes.
Before the bombs, I was a librarian, and now I can read everything all the time.
Oh no.
Whee!
There we go. So anyways, it's gone long, and, you know, they've updated lots, they've changed lots of things, they do big, almost yearly seasonal content updates. I think it's been a bit since we've had something substantial, but like the big thing they kind of been adding is large story arcs, where you interact with, oh, Chloe and the dog, with characters, and
Chloe, look here to brush up on your responder survival training.
thanks for your time.
No problem.
And then, like, you get stuff like this. Like, it just, like, here, like, day one, it was just empty. It was just boring, it was bland, there's none of this stuff. Now there's actually, like, things going on. And places to go and see. And you have these storylines with actual story and characters and factions that you interact with and do stuff with. And then on top of that, they've got expeditions where you go off to these places and you do little missions and engage in different things. And it really genuinely has improved a ton. And it's got this nice balance of, like, traditional, kind of like what the game was back in the day. And then they've also... they've also aimed to add so much more life into the game. And I think that in itself is really, really quite exciting. Because I like the world. I do think, again, like, it's just bizarre that they haven't done a proper next-gen update. That's what I was trying to get to, is just, like, the fact that they keep doing all these big upgrades and stuff, and they never do, like, a big proper, you know, visual enhancement for the consoles is, like, a little... It's a little weird. Honestly, like, it is a little strange that they don't do anything to actually, like, bump these visuals up prior. Because I'm sure they could take this to, like, 4K 60, right? Like... I don't really know what the excuse is there. They just kind of like be like, eh, it's good enough. I guess that's like kind of the Xbox way of doing things nowadays, but it is a little strange, right? Like, you could do so much more with this. And it's just like, it's a bit bizarre. I still like playing it though. Like, it's still a lot of fun. There's tons of like constantly ongoing events you can dive into with others. There's lots of other people to run into. There's lots of things to see. There's people doing all kinds of adventures. When you get together and you do like big battle things, it's pretty epic. The last massive update to the game, this poor ghoul, a walking cane. That's pretty cool. This cane was made for walking, and that's just what it'll do. Anyways, the last big update to the game, aside from, like, there was Atlantic City, which was, like, a big thing, and it was, like, this, sort of adventure that you went on. The leather chest plate, that might not be too bad. And that was kind of cool, like, it was a whole thing. Party hat, armor, yeah, leather. What did I just put on? Black rimmed glasses? It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Probably look ridiculous now. Yeah, I got my style. And then, like, you went off on these expeditions, and you did this big thing, and, you know, there was a whole thing. I mostly play on Xbox, if you're wondering about what stuff I got going on. But then they added this really cool new area, down here. So this was, like, a big change-up for the game, was this new spot with, like, just a huge visual change-up on the experience. So... normally, you just have, like, this whole area that's, like, the Badlands. A lot of nukes and stuff go off there. Yes, there's, like, environmental nukes. Oh, it's weird that it's over there this time. That kind of stuff would always go off. And then, like, yeah, they basically added this whole new world that you can explore down below. And it's super cool because it's, like, this whole new place that you can go and visit. And there's, like, inclement weather and extreme storms and crazy new robots and... It's sort of like a mystery of what happened here. It's actually like a really lengthy new thing for you to dive into and explore, which I think is quite exciting. It makes a big change up to the game, just in terms of, you know, new places, new enemies, new quests. That in itself, to me, is really, really quite exciting, that there's this whole new area with life, like, breathed into it, and it just makes a big difference when you're, like, chilling out. Like, it just feels like there hasn't been a long time since they've done stuff in this game. I don't know how to really explain it. It's sort of like one of those games where I quite like it, or I like the idea of it. I think I'm over level 100 or something on my main account, which is just tiny. Which, I know that sounds maybe weird, too, from someone that hasn't played this before, but, like, people get to very, very high levels in this game, because it's like, you know, it's a multiplayer, kind of like an MMORPG, I guess, of sorts. But, yeah, some people, they just pack in the hours doing all this sort of stuff. And, yeah, it's just, like, kind of one of those games that I sort of play every now and then. I come into and I go, okay, there's a new big expansion. Let's go see what's new, let's go see what's different. And then I play through, like, the storyline and the questing, and you get, like, hours of gameplay out of just doing the story stuff. Not to mention if you're one of the actual hardcore players that craves new content, and you're going in and you're doing all the events, the world events, and facing off against new enemies and foes. And mostly, it's just the sense of scale here is just, like, quite incredible. Like, the map of West Virginia is truly, truly quite exciting to visit. Like, it's filled with life, and it's day-night cycle, and then there's different, like, camps and stuff too. I love the camp system. That's like one of my favorite things that was kind of basically soft introduced into Fallout 4, was the idea that you could build your own stuff, like have a little place and you could build it up. And then Fallout 76, obviously, you now have your own little camp, and your camp can be taken with you, and it could be this place where there's all these, like, really cool builds and things that you create as a player. And I've seen some amazing stuff. Like, I like my chill house on Xbox. Like, I got, like, a pretty fancy, cool little, like, place going on. But I can also see, like, so many cooler creations that people have made where they do, like, selling stuff, and you know, it really is quite amazing what they've been able to achieve with this game over the years, the improvements they've made, the enhancements. It's quite something. And that's why I wanted to do a little revisit here on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Like, it's still, you know, it's running fine. I think you might notice, like, there's the odd, like, sort of hitch here or there, but I think that's more, like, kind of saving / world integrated more than anything. But yeah, it's got such a unique vibe to it. And I hope that someday I come back and do, like, you know, they've done a proper current gen update, because I think that would be really, really exciting, because I do think they could take the visuals a bit further for these platforms. And I don't know, maybe they're waiting for, like, next gen consoles, like a PlayStation 6 or something like that. I'm assuming this game is going to keep rolling that far into the future. I really do. Like, I didn't think this one necessarily had it when it came out, but I will definitely give, you know, praise to the folks working on this, like from Bethesda's and Xbox's side of things, that they have persisted. I guess it would be more Bethesda specifically, because they're the ones that took this and they, you know, as this husk of a game, and they made it into something that's actually, like, viable and enjoyable and playable. That I do quite like, because, yeah, I kind of wrote this game off years ago, and I think it was around the update when they were doing the big NPC inclusions that I was sort of on board, as to say. And I'm not, like, a hardcore player of this at all. Like, I've done many streams of it. There's a great little role-playing arc on the channel if you've ever watched, which is kind of fun, across all the story stuff. But, you know, like, I wouldn't even necessarily consider myself too hardcore, and I've spent quite a lot of time playing this game. Which is sort of funny, because I know some people just go up a level higher. But my main issue is always ammo. I just, like, I burn it through bullets faster than I get bullets back. And that's kind of annoying, but, you know, that's just, that's sometimes just how the cookie crumbles. But this place, kind of cool, right? Like, it's this whole valley where there's just, like, crazy weather going on. You're trying to figure out, you know, what caused that weather and what caused that problem. And yeah, sure, there's still, like, delays in when content and stuff gets delivered out here in this game, but mostly the thing to take away is they have done really good work on trying to make this an experience that is something that you should play and should experience and enjoy and explore. And I think that in itself should be praised. And that's again, part of it is just showing off it running on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Finally, I've had it downloaded here forever, but it is like mostly trying to be like, hey, if you like Fallout a lot and you've been curious about this game and you've wanted to play it, now is like a really good time to do that. It's a good time to take a chance on it. Take a chance on this. Do. Anyways, because yeah, it's lots of fun going around and exploring and adventuring in this game. Especially if you get a buddy or so. Like, I will always say that about this game. Like, I thought it was just awful when it launched, but my favorite experience was actually being able to play Fallout with a friend for the first time. As in, you know, playing together cooperatively. And there is an element of magic to that, because it is a world that's kind of cool to explore with a pal. And I hope that it kind of continues to evolve and they continue to do new things with it, because I do think that potential to take this very far into the future is certainly here. And yeah, I guess you've almost been missing out if you haven't played it recently, because there is quite a lot to enjoy and love about this game. It's just, yeah, it's definitely, I think, been pretty hard for them to shake the launch of this one for sure. But hey, it's a pretty stable experience. It continues to get a wealth of content. I'm sure I'll be back streaming it whenever it gets a new big release, because that's what sort of entices me to come back and play it. But there's always people doing things. Did you know there's like a whole mall in this game too? I know it sounds crazy, but like there is like legitimately like a mall that you can visit. Like you got to go to the special place. I kind of don't want to spoil it because I'm just kind of taking in the aesthetic of this. But yeah, there's like a special place you can go, and there's like a big mall underground, and that's how you kind of get your expeditions going. And the expeditions just become this really exciting, like thing of exploration. Like the expeditions when they were first shown were kind of like they were poorly implemented, but now you can kind of easily go and do them, and it's really quite cool because these expeditions. Wait, was there a caps thing there? These expeditions are a really good way. I'll take that. Like a good way to kind of like earn some XP, fight some enemies, grind up some foes. You get to go to like the Atlantic Casino, the boardwalk and everything like that. And that's kind of cool because it's a place that it wasn't really impacted by the bombs. And then you can go back to the pit if you were like a Fallout 3 fan. The pit is obviously like a pretty legendary place, so you can go back to that area, which is kind of cool. Yeah, the expeditions are neat, and they're fun little things, and then sometimes you can just go explore the areas, and they're a place to, like, go and scavenge and that. And I wish the gambling aspect of it was taken a little bit further. It'd be fun if there was more interaction with, like, the machines, but you could do a little bit of fun, like, card play and that. And then you can bring those back to your camp and build up your house with that kind of spiffy stuff. And yeah. I guess also I should talk the main mystery of the game, too, a bit. Yeah, this, like, sort of scourge of the land. This, like, pollution thing that had grown, and you're kind of trying to figure out the remnants of it. It's not the greatest of storyline setups, but they've done a better job of making it, like, a viable story setup compared to what it was, if that makes sense, because, yeah, it just kind of didn't really work. Initially, right, with just the audio logs and stuff. Like they even like recycled like the dragon thing or whatever from Skyrim was kind of funny. I don't know if they've lived that one down, but that was always kind of a humorous bit. And yeah, you're trying to figure out what's going on with that, and all the usual bits and stuff from the Fallout lore. And I don't know, like it's a pretty proficient game. I think this kind of showed off some different areas of it, and yeah, as far as having like a bit of a lower character, I think I've done a not so bad job of kind of giving you a little bit of tour of what's changed and what's new. But certainly give it a whirl if you've been hesitant about it, or you've been thinking about it, or you're looking for something new to play. The world of Fallout 76 is always ready to go, and always ready for a brand new Fallout adventure. So yeah, I guess see you out on the Wasteland there if you give it a chance, or maybe you're already playing it and just want to see how it runs here. And I just gave you a full context breakdown you didn't even need.